Hey everybody, I shot a video recently showing you how I use my thermoelectric generator stove fan in conjunction with my buddy heater here, and I got a lot of comments and questions about it, a lot more than I expected to get. And one concern kept cropping up over and over, and that is whether or not these wires in the back would get melted because of the heat that's coming straight up off of the heater here. So the way I have it set up, and I'll show you, it's simply a little bent piece of metal. This is a garden stake. I can't really get it out of there. I sort of have it wedged in there, but there's just a little garden stake stuck through there. So two of the little points stick out the back, and those 2 points then hook underneath the rearmost guard, and we actually sit on the edge of the next guard down. And if you look at it closely, you will see that the back edge of the fan itself sits sort of behind where the opening for the heat comes up. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but I think that makes all the difference in the world. And then of course, after a few moments, once the fan gets going, all of the hot air that's rising up just gets pulled forward and blown right through before it has time to get to that wire. So we're going to go from cold, start it, turn it up to high because I usually run it on high. And while we're waiting for a moment or two for it to get started, I want to actually talk about the fan a little bit. First of all, this particular fan I really like. It blows like a tornado. I cannot believe how much air this thing moves. However, once I purchased 2 of them and shared the link with a few people, the price went through the roof, and it is now being sold for $100 on Amazon. So I'm not going to recommend this unless you got a lot of money you want to spend. It really is a great fan, but I would not spend $100 on it. I do have another fan that we'll be looking at in a few moments that only has 1 fan on it, and we'll talk about that one. But I will also say these are not all created equal. I got another model that was 2 blades, 2 fans, and it worked fine, but I don't know if it was the blade design or how powerful the motors were, but it just did not move 1/10 of the amount of air that this one moves. And so I sent it back and bought another one of these. And by then the price had already gone up. I bought this one for $56, and the second one I bought was already $65. And that's where I said, I wouldn't pay any more than that. But it really is a fantastic fan. So once it gets going, that's pretty hot right there. And I wouldn't want to leave my hand there for any length of time. But you can see I got a good 5 or 6 seconds. Well, now it's getting really hot. But I don't know what to tell you. I never have any problem with that wire melting at all. I'm sure it gets incredibly hot to touch, but the plastic and the shrink wrap that's around it has always stayed fully intact, and it's not melted or disfigured or anything. I'm not concerned about it at all. And again, I run this unit on high all the time, and it blows hot air all the way across the room. So another thing I do with these fans is I use it to move air around in my kitchen, and in the winter I help circulate moisture as well, and I'll show you exactly how I do that by simply placing a pan of water with some, in this case I've got a little bit of peppermint and vanilla extract in there, and you can see I have it just warm enough that it's simmering, and that of course creates enough heat that the fan starts running. Now this is not the same unit we were just looking at. This is the unit I keep upstairs, and I keep it up here for a couple of different reasons, but this is one of them. And you can see how much it pulls that steam rising up. Now this is probably a bit of an exaggeration, but it gives a good look at it on video. It can show you how much not only is it moving the heat from the stove around the room, it's also moving the moisture around, and in the dry winter time that's a good thing. So let's go back downstairs and I'll show you one other thing I do with these fans. But first of all, I want to show you up close. We are still sitting there on high. That fan is just a cranking away. And if you look, those wires are just perfectly fine. I don't know how to explain it. I know a few other people have said they've tried this and they've actually melted the wires. So I will definitely say proceed with caution if you're going to do this. But you can also simply make a flat sheet of metal and then set the fan right on top of it. Another thing I will point out, if you're looking at different models of these fans, make sure you look at the base of it and look at how it's designed and see if you're going to be able to figure out how to make a little prong or a hook or something. You're going to have to hook it to your heater or wherever you're going to use it. So make sure you look at the base. This one actually has a few holes that run through it, and it makes it nice and easy for me to just slide a piece of metal right through. You know, I bent it like a horseshoe and stuck it out the back, and I just hook it underneath of there, and we're good to go. So that's that. And now let me show you how I heat my office, because something like this would be way too much for heating my office. Now my office is heated. It's just at the far end of the house, and so it is the chilliest room in the house. And so burning a nice little hurricane lamp like this will eventually take the chill off of the room. The problem is I don't have any kind of ceiling fan or anything to circulate the air around, and of course the hot air simply rises straight up to the ceiling, and it takes half the day for it to finally start taking the chill off of the room. So what I did was took a piece of thick cardboard, creased it so that I could bend it into that shape. I then took a piece of sheet metal, regular ductwork type sheet metal, bent it so that it fits over the edges, wraps around a little bit, and then I taped it with aluminum tape. And of course on the inside, this is about 5 layers of heavy duty aluminum foil that prevents any real heat from getting to that cardboard. And I know this to be a fact because I accidentally left the flame on this so high that black smoke was coming out of it, and my smoke detector went off, and the cardboard was not even hot on the outsides. The only thing that was really hot was this piece of metal on top. So we do that. We do that. And in just a few minutes, I will have a little fan blowing some warm air around my office. Now, what I typically do is put this on the floor, not too far away from me, facing me, and then I get all that nice reflected warmth that comes out of that reflector, I guess. And then I turn this sideways so that while it spins and blows the air, it actually doesn't blow it directly on me. It just circulates the air around the office and keeps the air moving, and then I get all that nice radiant heat that comes off of this reflector. And you'd be surprised at how much heat comes off of that when you've got it sitting like that. You can kind of see by looking at the video how much more reflections coming out of there. So it's a really good way to just take the chill off the office, and instead of taking half the day to do it, it only takes an hour or so, and the office is nice and toasty warm. And I can get 2 days out of one of these tanks. It costs me about $2 a day to keep the office about 5 degrees warmer than the rest of the house. So we're going to let it sit on there for just a few more moments, and it should start twirling away here any moment. Again, this is nowhere near the kind of heat that we're talking about with my other, that buddy heater. We'll turn that flame up a little bit and see how much longer that takes to get going. Now, I left a gap between the top of the glass and the metal, and I left it about a 1/4 inch, maybe a centimeter, something like that. This is actually my prototype, and this is the one that got the, I don't know if you can see that or not. Hold it to get the light on it in the right angle. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a bunch of black sooty smoke in there. This is the one that had the flame turned up way too high. You can see it's already starting to spin. This one is square, so it wasn't as effective. It didn't reflect as much of the light back out, and it also is taller, and so I had about an inch gap between the top and where the top of the glass was, and this one did not work nearly as well. So that's the way I've settled it down to make it sort of angled. So it's sort of an amphitheater kind of shape, not really rounded, but triangular. And then about a 1/4 inch of gap between the top and the metal, and then you'll get a nice little bit of breeze blowing. Now I know that looks like that's spinning really slow in the camera. Oh, that's already getting too hot to touch. Yeah, that looks like that's spinning really slow in the camera, but obviously it's not. Again, nowhere near the amount of air moving from that other one, but pretty neat. Good way to warm my office, and it doesn't cost any money at all. Again, a couple dollars a day on the outside, and that's if I let this run all day long. From the time I get up to the time I go to bed, it's $2 a day. If I turn it off midday or whatever, then we're fine. So there you go. Again, I will put a link down below to one of these fans. They're not all created equal. So again, I did buy that one that really turned out to be kind of a dud and I had to send it back. So keep that in mind. Any link I put below, I'm just going to put a random link. I'll put a link to this one, this single unit here. It was $43 or $47, but at the moment I'm shooting this video, it is currently unavailable on Amazon. So it'll get you there and get you into the, you can look around at what other customers shopped for and so on and so forth, and you can find one of these fans that suits your need. So I hope that covered everything. If you got any more questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you subscribe because you never know what you're going to get with me. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.